Hello, my babe. My name is Joe from Sweetfire Soul Revival, and welcome. If you've never been here before, thank you for being here. If you've been here before, I appreciate it, and welcome back. So, this is your Soul Revival forecast for the week of September 9th through the 15th. And before I even pulled cards, there was a message that came through that was really about implementing the structure that you've created for yourself and the boundaries that you have created for yourself already. Because oftentimes we feel like we can't reinforce those things. Sometimes we feel like, oh, well, maybe I should just say yes this one time, or oh, well, maybe I should just do it this one time, or maybe I'm being too harsh about this, maybe I shouldn't. And we have all this weird guilt around the boundaries that we've set for ourselves sometimes. So if that's you, just remember there's a reason that you've implemented that structure, and there's a reason that you've created those boundaries to really make sure that you are taking care of yourself and that you are doing what you need to do to feel good. So I will say this, there are definitely boundaries and walls that we put up out of fear. So if that's kind of where you're at, then maybe those are the boundaries you need to kind of take a look at and say, really, is this helping or hindering? And sometimes we create things to keep people from getting in. And I absolutely understand that. But is it really serving you? Are you happy with this? And that's really what we're being asked to look at this week, is to look at these things that we've created and ask, are we happy? If we are, let's reinforce that. If we're not, let's change it and then reinforce the change. And there is nothing wrong with reinforcing what's already set as well as changing what's already set. We don't have to keep it forever. If there's a boundary that doesn't serve you anymore, a foundation or a structure that's not doing you any good, then don't use it anymore. Go ahead and change it. But really utilize what you have and the tools and the knowledge that's already in your arsenal to kind of boost up where you're at right now in your life, if that makes sense. So we have some good fucking cards. And you're gonna say, what the fuck are you talking about when you see this first one? But I promise it's here for a reason. So our first card is the devil. Now, a lot of people do not like to see the devil come up in a spread. But you know what? The thing is, the devil's here to say, listen, I'm not holding you hostage. I'm not keeping you prisoner. You can leave anytime you want to. So really, this card is asking us, like I said, is what we have implemented in our lives serving us? Do we feel like a prisoner to our routine, to our structure, to our boundaries, or can we change them? Can we say, you know what? This doesn't work. Saying yes to everything, taking up all this extra slack, doing all these extra things for all these people isn't really helping me. It's setting me back. I feel tired. I'm filling everybody else's cup before I fill my own. So the devil says, listen, it's cool if you stay here. It's chill, no worries. You can hang out here, but you're not a prisoner. You can leave whenever. But we have this perception that we're being kept there. We have this idea that we are prisoners to this predicament or this situation or this feeling. We feel like we can't leave. What would happen if we did? We've been here for so long, we don't know anything else. There's a myriad of reasons why we might stay in that space. Fear is a big one. Why we might say this might represent your comfort zone. So, really ask yourself, am I doing what I do out of habit, out of fear, out of safety, out of feeling just sort of compliant, I guess, is really just sort of like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or is what you're doing and what you implement in your life actually useful to you? Is it really getting you where you want to go? Or are you just on autopilot? Are you just kind of moving through life like, no big deal, whatever, I do the same thing every single day? So take this week and really ask yourself, what do I use this structure for, this routine for, these boundaries for? Are they useful or not? And our next card, the Ace of Swords, is really backing that up. So when we do this, when we take that moment to kind of reevaluate what's already going on in our lives, we can then see it from a new perspective. We can then say, well, I guess if I tweak this, it'll probably work better. If I do this differently, it'll work better. So the Ace of Swords says, you really just need to cut out the bullshit. There's no time for any of this. There's no time to hang out in the status quo. If you're not happy there, there's no reason to be there. So the Ace of Swords really signifies the fact that you can make that change. The change is there. It's ready for you. The universe is handing it to you. Right? You're being handed something. But it's all a matter of what you choose to do with it. So you can say no thank you, or you can take that and then start to utilize it in your life. You can see where things fit and where you can remove some things. Because sometimes we get in this place where we hoard a whole bunch of stuff, whether it's knowledge or feelings, or just kind of, like I said, really filling up our plate with things that we don't really want to do. Saying yes to things that we really don't want to say yes to. We live in a society where having a busy schedule is just the norm. It's what you're supposed to do. But is it making you feel good? You know? So you're being handed this opportunity that says, cut out what doesn't work. Cut out all this stuff that's just kind of taking up space, because when you remove those things, you have room for what is new. And if you're sitting there thinking, like, I wouldn't even know where to begin, I don't know, like, what would I do if I didn't operate on autopilot? What would I do if I was present for every single moment and every single day that I do things, right? Because we do tend to do things on autopilot. We get up, we have our morning routine, we go to work, we do our job, we come home, we make dinner or whatever. So, and think about it, how much of the time are you present for any of that? So, what would it be like if you were present in your life? What would it be like if you weren't thinking about the next thing or the next thing? What would it be like if your focus wasn't solely on your to-do list, or how much you hate your job, or how much you don't want to do this thing or that thing, or what you're dreading? So, our final card, the Queen of Cups, is asking you to really go within and use your intuition to remove, or to decide what to remove, to follow that flow, because our intuition is never going to lead us astray. So instead of worrying about what we would do if we didn't have this or if we did have that, instead of filling that time in our day with dread or worry or frustration or irritation or anger, if we were present and in the moment and just allowed things to flow, how would it be? How would it feel if that's how you were living your life on a daily basis? I promise you, I speak from experience, I promise you, it will be so much better. You will feel so much happier if you lived in the moment instead of thinking about what's coming next or what happened already. So rather than trying to anticipate and worry and think about things that are coming up, or think about the past and what you could have done or what you should have done or whatever, live right now in this moment, because when we live in this flow of the Queen of Cups, who's very in tune with her intuition and her emotions, and she follows what feels good to her, life is so much better. Opportunities come up that you really want. Things manifest for you because you're in a place of flow, because you feel good, because you're living your life happily and in the moment. Even if this moment right now is not amazing, you're still in that moment. And then you can choose which way to go the next moment. So really take a look at what you have going on right now and what doesn't actually need to be there. And use your intuition to say, okay, you know what? I can cut out this shit. This shit and this shit and this shit is not doing any good. So instead of that, I'm going to do this, which feels so much better. And let's not get stuck in that feeling of guilt or like we're trapped. Remember, the message of the devil is not to say that you are a prisoner. It's to say you can set yourself free whenever you fucking want to. You're not there forever. You choose how long you stay. So, I pulled an oracle card for us from the Miracles Now deck, and we got to travel further on my path of personal growth. I call on my spiritual running buddies for help. So, this is about support. This is about support, especially when we feel those feelings that we're trapped. When we feel those feelings that the devil sometimes can elicit in us, like we can't leave, like we're chained to this thing that we hate, to this job, to this relationship, to this addiction. Call on support, and it could be a friend or your family or your partner, but it could also be guides, or it could be God, the universe, angels, ancestors, whatever it is that you believe in. You can call on that higher power for support if you don't have anyone immediately in your life that can fulfill that. So when we need that additional guidance, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay to ask. It's okay to be able to rely on someone or something else. And that doesn't mean you have a crutch. It doesn't mean that you can't do it alone, but it means that you don't have to, and we're all here together, right? Like there's no reason for you to do it alone except for a self-imposed reason or a self-imposed idea that to ask for help is weakness, or it's a crutch, or you shouldn't burden or impose on others. That's what our friends are for. Our family, people who love us, are there to support us and us to support them in turn. So if you don't have anybody that you can call on right now, that's okay, because the universe will guide you. Just ask for it, and I promise the answer will be given. So finally, what I want to do is give you some more journaling homework, per usual. So this week, I want you to journal about how can you set yourself free. So how can you choose to see your situation differently, thereby setting yourself free from this sort of self-imposed prison or these chains that you feel like you're in? So take some time, see if you can change your perspective on your situation and where you're at, because that's really important. When we change our perspective, we can see things differently, and what seemed to be a hopeless, bleak situation may not look the same when we change our perspective. So, that being said, I love you. I hope this helps, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.